Hello everyone, TP Gaming here, and welcome to the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. So, this game originally came out in 2013, and in April of this year came out the deluxe version. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe is an expanded reimagining of 2013's The Stanley Parable. You will play as Stanley, you will not play as Stanley. You will make a choice, and you will become powerless. You are not here to win. The Stanley Parable is a game that plays you. If that sounds confusing, you've probably never seen the game before. And if you have seen the game before, hopefully you'll come along for this journey with me as well, because I haven't played this game before. I was aware of it when it came out. I've seen clips over the years, but I've never actually dabbled in playing it myself. I know the gist of the game. I know we're going to be making lots of different choices, and some of those will be right, some of those will be wrong, and the game will have fun in letting us know which ones we have taken right. So, without further ado, let's get into the game and begin.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Oh, that's important. At least he was happy.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Yeah, I think this is us. Anything clickable? Not really.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oops. Oh, that's off now. That's off too. That door's open. Interesting. Can't go in there. Surname access. That's how you spell surname. Oh, we'll just turn everybody's computer off then.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Did he now? So should we go right, or should we stick to the left? I'm tempted to go right, but we'll stick left. We'll go left. Make sure nothing over here is accessible. No.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Do not alter
Feeling a
without
wave of
consulting
disbelief,
whiteboard manager.
Stanley
Wow.
decided to
How do you
go
get to be
up
the
to his
whiteboard
boss's
manager?
office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Are we sure there's nothing here?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Feels like you're trying to move me on now.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Fine. We'll leave. I'm sure there's something in there.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What's down there? I know it says to go up, but that red light is intriguing me. Go for it. Why not?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Oh, yeah.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Oh, yeah.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh, wow.
Then he imagined
Actually,
himself
yeah.
soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley
Nice.
marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
Exactly.
How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this.
She's going to leave him
So
there.
it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
I mean, I suppose he is
And
dead.
then she turned and ran.
Wow. Yeah, I think we went wrong there. Okay, so what's it done? It's put us back at our desk? Yeah. Wait. Was that always like that? Must have been.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Okay,
What could it
let's put us
mean?
back.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting
Better make the
room.
right
Perhaps
choice
he
this
had
time.
simply missed a memo.
I wonder what happens if you go through the wrong door then. Here. What happens if you go through the right door?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
We'll still keep going with the left. Let's try and get up to the boss's office. And then probably find out that we need to go down that right door all along.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Tips
Feeling
for not
a
getting
wave of
fired.
disbelief,
Talk less.
Stanley
Do unbelievably
decided to go
amazing
up to
work
his
all the
boss's
time,
office,
every day, with
hoping
no
he might find
explanation.
an
Come on,
answer
I was
there.
reading that. How to solve a dispute with a co-worker. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive-aggressively. Absolutely. The closet again. So we'll go upstairs this time.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
no point
upstairs
going
to
down
his
there.
boss's office.
Up again. Ooh, here we are. Wow. Executive bathroom. Ooh. I mean, to be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Okay. I wouldn't say this is an executive bathroom. I mean, I guess for a workplace it's nice to have a private bathroom, but it looks horrendous. There's nobody up here either then. Anything in here? Ooh, there is. What is going on here? Business strategy. Shooting pandas? Lift. Ooh, the lift actually works. Maybe we should go to the office first, but we'll come back to that.
Stepping into his manager's
Or
office,
maybe
Stanley
we won't.
was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Maybe we should have taken a
Shocked,
lift.
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief
ceiling
who
height.
orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened
Wow,
passageway.
what an office. Want one? This could be my new gaming room. I'm wondering if we've taken a wrong turn again. This looks a bit... Is this even a... Yeah.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Did he now? Escape to the left or straight ahead to Mind Control Facility? What do we do? Oh, see, if I go down there, we're probably going to die, and then we'll have to do it all again. Oh, but could that just be an obvious escape? Is that one of those things like, hey, we told you you could just go down there and escape? And I'm curious to go down there, but I guarantee you walk through here, the door will close. Oh, I don't know. What do we do? Let's go Mind Control Facility. Let's do it.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What
Wow.
horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Sure. Oh, we're in it now. We've gone past the escape. We might as well try it.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Wow.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
So what's going on there then at number something? Number 234. Why is that not... So that person's been fired, but 234 has scribbled over it. Do we need to remember 234? Let's remember 234.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Where are we going?
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
How do we do that? Come on, narrator, tell me how we do that. Presumably we go through the other room. Very colourful. Okay. Console disabled. There's nothing. Okay. So, this big button that says 5, what does this do? Ah, there's some more buttons. We have to press them in order then? What number is this? 3. 1, 2, 3, so that's got to be 4 up there then. 1, 2. You probably don't even need to do this. I bet there's somewhere else it tells you to press them in a different order. Can't even get up there. Can't even get up there. Well, I can see anyway, it's too dark, but I can't get up there. Okay, so I can't do that anyway. What if we don't press that? We just go straight to 5. Mind controls idle, awaiting input. That's interesting, the door isn't closed. What does that say? Mind control system center. Unlegible text. System
and when
power.
At last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
To turn it off, right? Did we do the right thing?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power
so were we
that
free?
he had been seeking,
have we done it then?
but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to
Oh,
understand,
there's a lot of stuff we haven't
but
actually
to let
done.
go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Okay.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Achievement unlocked, beat the game. So yeah, we beat the game there. I think we did it. Okay, so that's how you get out. But there's a lot of things that the narrator said. Well, the first thing I want to check out next is what happens if you walk through the other door.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So what happens if you go through the right door then?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Of course he did. That's exactly what he wants to do. If we can ever find the thing. So we actually did get away then. But we don't know what happened to all the employees, or who is doing this to everybody.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
I mean, it is an epic room. It really is. I mean, the blue carpet with the white walls, with the false ceiling.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
Yep.
A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
It's interesting, yeah. The greatest room ever. That was worth it. Absolutely worth it.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
But he didn't.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop. What? So where are we now then? Do not jump from the cargo lift while in motion. It will cause death. Penalty for misuse, cargo lift $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000. So not only do you die, you get fined $5,000. It's a real kick in the teeth after you're dead, you know?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
I think we should go down.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
Okay.
Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Ooh, there's a her.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
You sound a little bit disingenuous there, narrator. Okay, this is the only way we can go now, I think. We can only go through this. Well, I can't go in there. There's a door to absolutely nothing. Maybe we should have hopped off. Ooh, maybe we still can. That was weird. Being able to go back through a door. Oh, it doesn't move anymore. Would never get on there. So our only option is to go through into the abyss.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly play...
Hello? 427. Ooh.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right.
Ooh, we got a hot date.
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Gotcha!
I mean, that's just mean.
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Yes.
Who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Well, hot date with a mannequin. I mean, you've got a nice place, but I can't go through that door, and I can only go there. What's down here?
Sorry,
Oh,
but you're
come
in my
on.
story now.
The narrator has hijacked the game.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
He's killing us. Good morning, employee. Press L on your keyboard. All right.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature
I mean, you
of
could give
his
us a drink.
existence.
Press T. I can't press any of the keys. It's not letting me do that.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
I have a choice.
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Press C.
But in his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
I think that's what's
It was
really
wonderful.
happening. Do you think he's just
And
fallen
each
asleep
day
at his
that he
desk?
returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press L to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize
Oh,
about his
come
own
on.
job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Press G to spend time with the boys. Do it.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Press I to prepare dinner. Keyboard's in the wrong place
As
for
he
this.
wandered
Whoa.
through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
It's I to tell you kids the story,
It
alright?
was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over
he
and
know
over,
that we've done
wishing
this,
beyond
though?
hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free.
This feels like it
Surely
knows
there's an
we've
answer
finished.
down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Press Z to tell your wife you love her.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
F to go to sleep.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Press H to be at work in the morning. I'm not going to press it. You told me not to press it. I'm not pressing it. Am I just going to sit here and just do this for hours? Who's going to break first, me or the game? I think it's probably going to be me. What else can we do? Anything? Any secrets? Nothing. How long do you wait before the game might think you're not going to press it? So this has been made by the kind of people that would put like an hour on this before it would flick over. Just to annoy you. We'll give it another 10 seconds. And if nothing happens, I'm pressing it. We'll press it.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that
Nothing
he'll
happened.
understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Press K to question, nothing.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried
Please
again,
die.
and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Are we dead now? I think we died again. We did. So, okay. Let's go and explore a different way.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed
So
a
we've
memo.
done downstairs. That didn't work. That did nothing. We've done the right door.
When Stanley came
That
to a
was
set
different.
of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Speed running this now.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Been through here.
Feeling
Been
a
in
wave
there.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go
Been
up
down
to his
there.
coming to a staircase.
This was definitely the
Stanley
way to
walked
go.
upstairs to his boss's office.
We actually escaped. We've been in the bathroom. The only thing we haven't done is come through here and go in this lift. As far as I can think. Let's go. So what happens now? It feels like a fast lift. That's a bit of lift music, though. It does nothing. The players a nice little bit of lift music. This sings the Stanley Parable, of course. Of course it does. Okay, so this lift does nothing. It's the glow on them. So that does absolutely nothing. It must do something. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
Let's try it backwards.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
5482. Zero, zero.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
I wonder if there's somewhere else on the level somewhere with a number on it that we can punch in here for a different outcome.
2845.
1, 2, 3, 4. Fine, 2, 8, 4, 5. Let's do it.
Yet
So this time we'll go down
by simply
the
pushing random buttons
escape.
on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the
See what
correct
happens down there.
code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Something tells me there's an awful lot more stuff to see here. It's just got that feel
Stanley
about
walked
it.
straight ahead through the large door that read
Nope,
Mind
we're going.
Control
We're
Facility.
escaping this time. I want
Although
to see what
this
happens.
passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Might as well do it. We made it
The
out
door
once.
behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Bring it on. Is that it then? We just jumped to our death. Yes? Is that what happened there?
As the machine whirred into
Interesting.
motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been
Oh.
of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture.
We're about to get
he doesn't
squished.
know the real story, trapped forever in his
Oh,
narrow vision
we
of
jump
what
off?
this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man.
Oh.
And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant,
Interesting.
Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body,
What a way to go.
killing him instantly.
Wait a sec. What? We've been saved. The Stanley Parable and nothing.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Exactly. Trying to kill us off every single time.
When every path
Wow.
you can walk
Now
has
this
been
is
created
an
for you
office.
long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
I do see. Hey, there's the offices. Office layout. Doors. It's like a museum. What does this do? Stanley's computer. Corridor. Filing cabinets. based on the work of the Stanley Parable 2013 team. So these are the credits. Interesting. So you don't see the credits otherwise unless you come this way. Interesting. So we've got button sounds. A selection of sounds used throughout the game when the buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mixed keynote synthesized tone. So these are the ones we were trying to press earlier. So we've got a right way or a left way. 431 to 436 or... What is going on? Boss's office. That's development. Nice. The lounge. There's the mind control facility. This is a really
Anything
weird...
in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you.
Oh, narration outtakes. Okay, the narrator recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over 2 years. These are some clips from the early that did not make it into the final game.
Then he pushed the number 4. Stanley stood on the roof.
I bet the narrator to this thought, this is
Where
weird.
were all of these-
I wonder how they're going to put all of this dialogue into the game. Freedom ending. This was the very first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Is that what we did? Countdown desk. Freedom ending. Yeah, I think that is what we... Okay, well that's just itching to be pressed, isn't it? Countdown desk. One of the desks in an early version of the countdown ending. Oh, we haven't done the countdown ending yet. Monitor room, elevator. God, there's so much stuff here. The game is now paused. Begin the game again. Oh, that's just the escape menu. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this was what they're supposed to do, and very frustrating for everyone. So they're just giving us all of the endings here. Zending. Screenshot depicts the early version of the ending known as Zending, which is eventually cut and merged with the other parts of the game. Wow. I feel like I've come here too early. Like we should have maybe... Trailers. We should have maybe done the game a few more times before arriving here. First one released in May 2012. Features a series of broken rooms, the voice narrator. Wow. Okay. I feel like we should go back the other way, maybe? We're a bit lost here. I feel like we're a bit in purgatory here. Cargo lift. Cargo lift. Second version functionality the same in the final game, but we wanted to make sure it was stored. Interesting. The apartment timer. This is endless, isn't it? This has just slowly dawned on me that this is... Yeah, I think this is... this is doing us over, isn't it? Go to emails. Warzone. In early development, we developed an ending where Stanley would end up on the battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would be the sentient would wage war against the narrator. We're far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Really? Wow. Is this all genuine stuff, or is this just... Are we just going to walk around here endlessly? That's just that room. Stanley's office. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office over time. They created in November 2011, and the second is 2012, and then February 13. So, what, they added a few things. Took away a computer for that one. Interesting. Exit. Is that it then?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this.
We win! We're out! Okay. Well, I think there's probably still a couple of things I'd like to do. There's one more thing I want to do. I want to jump off the cargo thing.
This is the story of a man named...
Yeah. I want to jump off the cargo thing. So that's the only way we haven't been, I think.
Stanley decided to go to the
I know
meeting
there's
room.
probably
Perhaps he had
so
simply
much
missed
more
a memo.
stuff that we're missing. I bet you could play this for days and find little secrets on these desks or pictures on the wall.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
How do we get to the cargo thing? Oh, that was the other way, wasn't it? Should we have gone through the other door?
Yet there was not a single person here either.
I think
Feeling
we
a
should have gone
wave
through the
of
other door, shouldn't we?
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yeah, I think we should have gone the other way.
This is the story.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to
All of his
disobey
co-workers
the
were
narrator.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
We
left.
haven't done that either.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
we're
incredible
going
he
over there
wasn't
somehow.
fired years ago.
I don't know if it's going to let
Look,
us.
Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
We are going
I'm
to
not
try
sure.
and
You
jump
really
down
are
onto this
not.
ledge.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact
no.
is that But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his
Yes,
death.
he did.
Good
Yes, he
job,
did.
Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Thank you. Got to do that again now. Wait. Is that phone always ringing?
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Okay. Was that always ringing as we've come through here? Is that new?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Alright, I am determined to get on this ledge.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the
I don't know
wrong
what's down
foot
there,
here.
but there's got to be some...
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in
There's
someone
one
else
there.
can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you forgot. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
No! What's in here? What's in here? 2B1. 2B3. No buckets past this point. Is there any bucket we can take? Red
Now
door
listen
or
carefully,
blue
this
door?
is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Oh no! Another choice. Stanley walked through the red door, did he? No, he didn't. He walked through the blue door.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
No. He walked through the blue door.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Can we go through this one? Oh, there's the blue door. No, he didn't. He walked through the blue door.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Thank you.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
Yes.
Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
Yes, it was.
Do you
Yes, it
not
was.
think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see.
It was.
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Interesting. Interesting. Now, part of me just wants to go down the regular door now, just to piss him off. All right, we'll go through this. This is different. We'll take it.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door?
See, now you do.
Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Stanley Parable. Worldwide leaderboard. Oh, I see. I see. Stats. Did you know that 21.3% of players skipped in the intro sequence? Wow, really? This is you. Okay. So if we take the original way through now, what happens?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
4.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on,
Ooh.
and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Let's do it.
Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Nobody's going to watch this for 4 hours. Oh, but we're just going to have to let it die. I'm not doing this for 4 hours. Bye-bye. Die. Oh, he's fine.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Are we back to the beginning? Wait.
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley?
I know exactly
What's our
what this game is
backstory?
about.
What is our
This
motivation?
is Firewatch. What?
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man, spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic
way.
purpose.
This is Firewatch.
Yes, that
Exactly
must be it.
Firewatch.
What a fascinating venture into the experience
I
of
didn't know they made
total
this.
mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see
just
what
saying,
else
can
is
we
out
leave?
there.
This is crazy. I had no idea that this would happen. So this game, it's like a couple of hours story game where you see fires and you have to go and find out what's going on, and there's a whole backstory to the area. And you talk to somebody on a walkie-talkie. Good game. Check it out if you haven't already. In fact, I may even bring it to the channel since I am now playing it. Welcome to Firewatch. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, no. No, it can't be.
Can't be what? This is crazy.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Oh!
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow.
But I
You
like
can just
open
go
world.
in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
It's a gap in the wall.
Preferably something with walls. Something
No,
with nice,
there's a gap in the
big,
wall.
insurmountable walls.
Oh no, let me leave.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
What's he going to make us play now? I did not expect that. Rocket League?
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now, this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Can we actually play, or are we just gonna...
so what exactly do we do here? Let's see.
You drive cars around and try and score.
Lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack.
No, you
okay,
play
I'm
football.
seeing that there's a ball of some kind
That's
back
right,
here.
yeah.
Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Let's do it. Okay, that's massive when you're this tall. Go! I can't believe I'm playing Rocket League in the Stanley Parable.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought.
I don't want to hurt
and I
your feelings,
realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball. Yes! Oh goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable.
Can we score?
More
Can we score?
balls.
Can we score? I think we can score. We scored! Goal! Balls everywhere. Another goal. I put it in. Yes!
Are you enjoying this, Stanley? Are you
not bad,
having
actually.
fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over.
No.
That's right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I'm structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
So he's just left us in Rocket League. The only way out is down here, I reckon.
Hold on. What are you doing? Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that.
So we're in the planning stages now of the game itself. This game is crazy. Filing cabinets. Which way do we go? Wait, what was this way? Nothing. Oh, is that the two doors? What's in here? What's in the left door? Or is this where we were? This is where we were, isn't it? Okay.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. And if he's learned
Reasonably,
the
we got to play
cost
Rocket
that
League.
comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
And here we are again at the beginning. Well, that was a different arc. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Comment on anything that I've missed along the way. In the next video, hopefully we'll solve all the unsolved avenues and venture where we haven't been yet. And try and complete the game. Until then, I'll see you next time.